peace now! Korea peace now! Korea peace now!
70 years ago, on July 27, 1953, U.S. and North Korean military commanders signed the armistice, halting the brutal Korean War that killed 4 million lives, separated 10 million Korean families, and leveled the entire Korean peninsula. The armistice was meant to be temporary and replaced with the peace settlement, but this never happened. And 7 decades later, we are facing a security crisis in Korea, and one that could impact all of us. But there is something we can do. We now have a bill, the Peace on the Korean Peninsula Act, H.R. 1369, that calls on President Biden to engage in serious, urgent diplomacy in pursuit of a binding peace agreement to end the Korean War. Nearly 50 co-sponsors signed on in support of this legislation in the last Congress, and we are well on our way to exceeding that number in this Congress. By comparison, in 2010, on the 60th anniversary of the Korean War, only 2 brave representatives, Dennis Kucinich and Barbara Lee, supported our calls for peace.
A roadmap for a peace agreement and other diplomatic efforts to ensure a sustainable peace. This legislation offers a transformative peace-first approach to ending the Korean War. Finally, the Korean War is known as the forgotten war in the United States. Most people think the war officially has ended. Yes, it's time for Korea peace now. It's time. It's time. It's time.
I am one of millions of Koreans who became separated from their family during the Korean War. I cannot visit my own flesh and blood. I cannot visit the graves of my parents, maybe one last time. I cannot even send letter to my siblings to say hello. This time is running out. As one of the oldest separated Korean American families, I ask my government and the members of Congress to help to reunite remaining separated Korean families by supporting H.R. 1369, the Peace on the Korean Peninsula Act.
I'm here today because war is wrong and wasteful. Most people do not know that the Korean War never ended, and that we continue to spend billions and billions of dollars every year to win this war. Meanwhile, young people like me face a world of climate devastation and economic uncertainty. We need better education, healthcare, and security. Gen Z and Gen Alpha need peace, not war. I hope to visit my great-great-grandfather's gravesite and meet my North Korean relatives one day. It is unfair that American citizens cannot travel to North Korea because of the U.S. travel ban, or that Koreans have been unable to cross the DMZ for over 70 years. We need an end to the Korean War so that I, along with millions of other young Koreans and Korean Americans, can move forward in a world of peace and cooperation. Thank you.
울고 싶어도 잘 울지도 못하고 말하고 싶어도 잘 말 못하고 오랫동안 쌓아온 우리 조상님들 이것도 눈물도 흘리지 못하고 가신 조상님들이 너무 많아. 아이고 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 나 대신에 울어달라. 나 대신에 통일을 이뤄달라. 나 대신에 독립을 이뤄달라.
every time that North Korea launches a nuclear missile or launches a cruise missile or a long-range missile, I have friends who say to me, North Korea, the people are so poor. Why is the government putting money into militarism? And I say, yes, it's a terrible thing, isn't it? When we spend now $8 trillion on the military, when we are the ones who have about 30,000 troops in the Korean Peninsula, when we are the ones who push these massive war games aimed at attacking North Korea, when we are the ones who now have a nuclear submarine in the Korean Peninsula, nuclear submarine, boo!
As a Korean American adoptee, I am one of 200,000 Korean people who lost our birth families, language, culture, and country due to the war and its devastation. Since the signing of the agreement in 1953, the Korean Peninsula has remained divided, and the United States has maintained wartime operational control of South Korea. As a Korean adoptee severed from my biological family and cultural history, I can understand the grief and pain of separation, absence, and loss. Over 100,000 Korean Americans have family members in North Korea that they are unable to visit because of politics that ultimately only benefit the wealthy and corporate interests. It is the same kind of politics that bars our undocumented community members from visiting their family members in Korea and causes others of our families to be torn apart by detention and deportation. As we mark the 70th anniversary of the Armistice Agreement, it is our duty as Korean Americans to call on our elected officials here in the United States to right the wrongs of the past 7 decades, to stop separating our families, and to work towards peace, not more war. Instead of escalating tensions in the area, we need peace established between North Korea, South Korea, and the United States. We call upon our Congress, the White House, and our fellow Americans to respond to this urgent need for peace in Korea and support H.R. 1369, the Peace on the Korean Peninsula Act.
And then 70 years ago, the North Korean and American military commanders decided to enter into a temporary armistice agreement, but did they ever come back to sign a peace treaty? No! So what we're at right now is Korea is in a state of war, and have you all forgotten about the Korean War? No! Yet do you know what it's titled? What is it titled, y'all? It's titled The Forgotten War. What the fuck? Right?
Victims
Victims of the Nogandri massacre, civilians killed by the U.S. military.
Victims of Korean sex trafficking by both the Japanese and the U.S. soldiers.
Koreans of diverse political beliefs who were demonized for their desire for independence and peaceful reunification.